Welcome to Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 158. I'm your host, Jeff Halash. This is our live call-in show for computer repair techs. The call-in number is 1-888-697-0162. Let me introduce you to the co-hosts. We have none other than Chris Carruthers from the Remote Support Tech Team. How you doing, Chris?
What? I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
I'm so excited that I'm here.
I'm excited to have you here and actually have your internet working.
Yeah. You know, I had to reset the modem twice this morning, but it's been fine for the last 4 hours. So.
Oh, Lord. Also joining us today, we have Taliferro Neal from nealtechsolutions.com. Taliferro, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. All right. Also joining us today, we have Tom Lawrence from lawrencesystems.com. Tom, how you doing?
Doing great.
It's looking good with your professional-looking microphone there hanging in the air.
Oh, yeah.
I need to do that. I need to do that to mine now.
Got my Linux sticker on it.
Yeah, you can put that back up now. Just kidding. I love Linux, people. I'm just kidding. Oh, also joining us today, we have Pat Palmer from TheComputerGuy.bz. How you doing, Pat?
Hey, we're doing good.
All right. Okay, so Pat, why don't you go ahead and start off and just kind of let us know what types of things you've been working on in your business lately.
Right now, it seems like I'm working with a couple of different motels, and seems like I do a lot of the Vizio TV repairs for ITI, good or bad or indifferent.
Okay.
I do a lot of them lately. You know, Black Friday wasn't kind. And you see, one thing, I have a newsletter, a Monday morning memo it's called, and I try to advise people that if you go to your local big box discount store on Black Friday, there's more than 30 days in there between Black Friday and National Liners Day, the day after Christmas. So what you have to remember is you need to plug the damn TV in to make sure it works before Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, because by the next day, your in-store warranty, the ability to return it, is gone. Now, I believe you can get maybe like a gift receipt or something like that, and that may straighten it out. But just in case, that's what we're dealing with right now. Doing a lot of TV jobs for motels right now, and I've got something else I'll show you here in a little bit when we shift to somebody else and come back. Right. Also doing a lot of video stuff. I have my own video channel on YouTube, working with that, and I started a new video blog called randomaccess.bz, and we're just having fun doing various things. I do a Monday night show called Pat's on Periscope every Monday night, and we're getting into the blab stuff, so we're going to be doing some blabbing.
Oh, awesome. Man, you're just in a little bit of everything. I noticed you got your lights in the background and everything's looking nice.
Well, yeah, that's just because I had to shift the camera from one area to another, and that's you'd have seen my big TV and porn collection I've had the other way, so you know.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to see that.
No.
All right, very good. Okay, let's go to Taliferro. What have you been up to in your business as of late?
I've been focusing mainly on small businesses, managed services. I just signed on a couple of businesses for managed services. I'm shifting my attention more towards that from residential. I just started using Kabuto about 2 months ago, and it's been working out pretty well for me. So I'm enjoying that, and you know, pretty much this holiday season, it always slows down for me. I think it's because people are just getting new systems and not worried about repairing their older systems. So I was looking at my statistics from the last 4 years, and it's always, you know, been slow around the holiday season. So just trying to kind of use this time to revamp for the new year and make some changes so I can hit the ground running in 2016. So
that's good. Yeah, and the Kabuto, that's basically it sits on your customer system and will basically alert them. That's from our friends over at Repair Tech Solutions.
Right, and I was using Continuum for a minute, but Kabuto has I like their price point a little bit better. and it's simple, but it gets the job done. You know, they're working on it. I can tell that they're putting a lot of effort into it. You know, the guys over there, I've talked to them a couple of times about, you know, features that are coming down the pipeline. So I'm really excited about what they're going to be bringing to it, and how I can turn around and make that a sell to my customers. So
very good. And I believe they're. You said they're bringing on. I believe they're bringing on antivirus and some different things in there too that are.
Yeah, I think it was EmiSoft or
MCSoft. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I personally I hadn't used them, but after they were going to start bringing them on, I did some research on their you know, their protection packages, and I was impressed. I was kind of embarrassed I hadn't heard about them sooner, because they got some real high praises. But yeah, I usually go with Kaspersky. So.
Okay. And Kaspersky is just fine, along with some of the other ones that everybody else uses. There's plenty of them out there. Bottom line is they're all only as good as their definitions up to a certain point. There's nothing out there that's going to get those 0-day exploits. If you hit with one of those, I don't care who you are. They protect you as best they can, but bottom line is, if people keep clicking yes on whatever they're doing on their desktop, then, you know, eventually they will get some sort of infection, whether it be malware or otherwise. So,
right.
Very cool. All right, and Tom, what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. We just finished one of our projects yesterday, which was a Raspberry Pi hard drive automatic shredding tool.
I saw
we
that
had
on
hard
Google
drives
Plus, yeah.
We wanted it to automatically shred the hard drives as soon as they were plugged in, and we wrote a Linux script for it, but then it became dangerous because is the script running? You'd have to check. So now we just bought a Raspberry Pi and put some hard drive docks on it. That way we can just keep all the hard drive shredding going, like, persistently.
Nice. So you basically
little
plug
LED
it in.
lights that blink to tell you when they're going and stuff.
Okay. So you plug it in, and basically it starts shredding the information right away.
Yep, and it does the standard D-band 3-pass wipe, and we do that for any laptops that get traded in. We take the hard drives, put them in there, let them wipe, and then we plug them back into the laptop. That way we verify they're good, we verify there's no issues with the hard drive, and go from there. Other than that, I've been updating my YouTube channel. Got a handful more videos on there, putting together another I got a couple more series I'm going to be putting together on my YouTube channel for some inside information on running a computer business. I did some more of my open source tutorials for how I do my accounting and things like that with some open source software. And other than that, we just been really busy. We've been picking up a lot more clients. Been doing a lot more on the MSP side, building that up. You know, it's people are switching to it. It seems to be a slow go here to get people moving over to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. An article I ran across in Channel Pro magazine, but if we get a chance to get to that today. But anyways, yeah, MSP is very interesting in it of itself. Definitely good for revenue, but there are some tricks to kind of getting things going and getting it done.
Yeah, and people can be a hard sell if they're not spending. If they look at their IT budget now and look at what they're spending, look at the problems they're having, and going, well. So we even measured out with some of our clients that we've had for over 10 years. They would be spending about, on a normal average pricing for MSP, they'd be spending almost 4 times as much a year on IT. So yep. They would see such a big increase. So they have no interest in it. So we're adopting some. I'm going to start implementing next year. We're basically hybrid models where we do minimal amounts of remote support included, and then break-fix billing for some of the other stuff. But basically, it's to get them, the antivirus and get them the updates and some of that stuff on a more automated basis, and then charge them for anything that happens.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing the plans that you put together, because I know I put together some of my own in this area to see kind of what works. We're not too far from each other, so.
Yeah. This area is a little bit tough sell. People are just really cheap.
It's a tough sell anywhere. Even though I think 9 times out of 10 you can save the customer money, but because it's a monthly recurring payment, they don't necessarily see it that way.
Right.
They see it as it's costing them more, but the reality is, what I usually tell people is, do you want your computer to work like it was day one when you brought it home from the store? If you want to do that, then we'll put this managed service on there, which is going to give you an antivirus, which is going to make sure your updates are done. It's going to make sure that your temp file folder is cleaned, or whatever other little things we do to keep it running good. Because what happens, I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. customers think that taking 10 minutes for an operating system to boot up is normal, and for a lot of them it is. That's perfectly normal. It didn't do that from the day they brought it home, but 6 months after having it, or a year, or whatever, all of a sudden now it's sitting there, and it's just, they go, yeah, I go push the power button, I go upstairs, I make a pot of coffee, I grab my cup of coffee, I come down, and then it's just starting to get to the desktop. And I hear that more and more. I'm baffled. I'm like, why even own a computer?
Right.
It's terrible, but people are used to it, so it's hard to give them that selling point of, I'm going to make sure that everything's taken care of. And I know people are sometimes they're including services in their packages, or maybe a discounted service outside of the package if you have that. So there's just many different ways to do it, but I'm curious to see how people are doing that across the industry and seeing how it works for them.
Right, and that's what I said, kind of getting at, because if you're in there looking all the time, you can kind of get ahead of the problem, because by the time they call me, like you said, they're, oh, it's been booting up, it takes 10 minutes to boot up, so I'm doing that for the last 6 months.
Right, exactly.
Like, it shouldn't. And if we looked at it, then, you installed spyware 6 months ago, and only recently got a virus that was actually causing the problem. Oh, we're used to the pop-ups.
That's terrible.
I just
terrible
close them.
Computing. Right, I just close them. They're fine. It's no big deal. But it's all their brothers and sisters that they bring in. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's man. They're taking over the world.
All right, Chris. What have you been up to?
Well, got a couple computers on the bench right now that I've been working on for the last day. Windows 10 fun problems. Not that I have anything wrong with the operating system. Just when it breaks, it's starting to feel more and more like a Mac.
Ooh, ouch.
Well, wait. When those things either work or they don't. When they break, it's a hassle to fix them.
I agree.
I'm making some more improvements to the managed service plan, because that's an ongoing thing that I'm always doing. Diane at the front desk, she's on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I'm handling the front desk as well, which is a change to my normal routine.
Oh, but you love people, so I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Just in person is different than over the phone, though, Jeff. You know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when they see you with the beard.
But right, exactly, yeah, because they, and then now it's like, is the beard real? Of course, it's real. You can see it. It's in person.
Do they tug on? Is that real? Let me tug on that.
Yeah, you want to try? You have to come up here first.
I'll be up there soon.
There's no snow still, so I've been still spending time outside, which is unusual for mid-December. Still doing Christmas shopping, because who would get any of those things done on time?
Absolutely.
And the November slump is well over. We're 2 weeks into December, and things are ramping up as expected. So everybody's happy, and we got to keep pushing.
Now, what improvements have you been doing to your managed services plans?
A lot of it has to do with the handling of updates on Windows 10. I mean, there's a lot that you can't do with Windows 10 Home, like tell it what updates to install or not to install updates. But you can change when the reboot prompt happens. You can force it to give a 4-hour time frame. You can force the system to allow customers to postpone. So a lot of it has to do with that, trying to figure out what to do about the big major Windows 10 update that seems to not be working on every computer. So we're trying to automate fixes for that, and it's just making things smoother and easier for our clients so that they're not manually needing to do anything on their system. Because that's the whole point of having a service plan, is it just works for them and they don't have to do any work on it.
And you're talking about the 15.11 update, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be failing almost as many times as it succeeds on the first install attempt. And if it fails, you have to clear it out and re-download it.
Good point. Okay. I didn't think about that.
So, you got to think that we have close to 700 systems now. It's that fluctuates up and down, especially around this time of year. But when 300 plus of them still don't have that update installed because it's failing on reboot, there's a problem with the update. So we've been just trying to automate that process to get that fixed, and I think we only have around 100 of them left that need to be done. So hopefully that'll be done by the end of the week.
Okay, and I'll tell you, I've got a machine sitting in here that a customer brought me that basically Windows 10, he upgraded to Windows 10. Windows 10, all of a sudden, there were some things that weren't working, so he tried to do what he's done in the past using System Restore, except he did a refresh, I believe. It's the one where it keeps, yeah, it's not the reset, but it's the refresh. Or I can't remember which one it was. It's not the one where it wipes all the programs and stuff out. But bottom line is, couldn't look at pictures, couldn't look at PDFs, couldn't get Adobe Reader installed, different things like that.
Yeah.
So I looked at the system for a couple hours. I had ran some programs on it to see if I could fix the registry and stuff like that, but not knowing what had happened exactly and going through that process, I basically had to call him up and said, look, we need to start over. I said, I can put Windows 10 back on here as a fresh install, and that is one of the things I'm really liking about Windows 10. Windows 10, when you do that install, it's even using an older ISO, it's pulling the downloads that it needs for a lot of the Windows 10 product over the past 6 months, and it's putting it in that installer and installing it right from the get-go. So there's not that many updates once you get Windows 10 installed, which is nice.
It's true. What I don't want to see, though, is I don't want to see an entire generation of techs that now don't have to reinstall Windows but can just do a refresh and it fixes it.
Well, here's the point, though. When you have a broken system, and this is what I've been finding, this was true with Windows 8, this is true with Windows 10. When you have a broken system, it's got some malware, maybe some viruses and other things on there, and people are doing the upgrades themselves. Even when everything's running okay and people try, so it's broken, right? That's why people want to refresh the system. They try to do that refresh. I have not seen it work right, not one time yet. So I'm waiting, and maybe it'll come, but I have not seen it personally. So my point is, we're still going to have plenty of work to do because there's a big process between backing up all the data, getting the stuff back, putting it back in the system, getting all the updates done, getting them back to where they need to be, moving all their data back, using things like Fab's Auto Backup, which does everything automatically. So I don't see our business changing too much in the near future because Windows 8 promised, hey, you'll be able to maintain your own computer. And Windows 10 is promising more of the same, and I'm not seeing it.
Let's face it, Windows 10 has promised that it's going to maintain itself with the way that it's handling its updates.
Exactly. Not happening. Anyways, all right, with that, I think let's go to a couple emails, and then we'll get into our topics for today. This first email comes from our friend Jerry Bransfield. It says, Jeff, this might be old news to you, but Windows Update from December 8th, speaking of, for Windows 10, and Outlook 2010, Outlook would only start in safe mode. I just ran across this problem after 2 hours of searching and solution. Hope it's a help to you. So we've got a link from InfoWorld we'll put in the show notes. Basically, it was an update that was supposed to do something with safe mode in Outlook 2010. What it did was it actually forced safe mode every time you opened Outlook 2010. So obviously a lot of us know that if you're using any type of add-ins in your Outlook and you go into safe mode, none of those add-ins are going to work. So that can be a problem for a lot of businesses. So I'll put that link in there. Thank you, Jerry, for that. Appreciate the info because I was not aware of that. I have not run across that myself. And this is from Cormac. It says, hello, Jeff. I am from Little Old Ireland, and thanks to you and all your guests for all your help and tips and also for the humor. It makes listening easy. I've worked for myself in computer repair for the last 4+ years, but I've also just started a full-time IT course to learn more about networking and get more qualifications to work with big companies. I can only do jobs in the evening when I come home from work. The reason I'm writing this is I'm so busy with college and work that time is everything, so I worked out a quick way to do a reinstall for Windows 7. I seem to do virus removal as much the same as you, but sometimes you just have to do a fresh reinstall. So I can be done in 45 minutes. It used to take about 2 days if you put in all the updates. I made a bootable USB using RT7 Lite, and I'll have the link for that in the show notes, with Service Pack 1 and slipstreamed 470 updates. That's right, I said 470. I take the user file from the computer I'm working on and use the unintended installation, then Ninite, and then put the user file back on. Fresh PC, turn around in 45 minutes. Hope this helps someone. I have a question. I just closed my website and I want to do one myself. I don't have much skill in that area. What are good sites to use? Thanks to you and everyone in the Podnutz world. What do you guys say for websites? Does anybody have any good things for websites? Especially if you don't know what you're doing. What's that?
Yeah, it depends how much skill you have on there. I mean, all my stuff's in WordPress, and I don't have any problem because we do web development.
Okay.
But a lot of people, Squarespace, I've sent some people there. Squarespace got some really nice templates you can use. It's inexpensive. It requires very little technical knowledge, and you can get it assembled pretty quickly.
Okay.
Just make sure, with that, just make sure you're owning your own content. Because what happens is we've got the telephone company, we've got the newspapers, we've got all these third-party companies wanting to set websites up for folks, and what happens is the telephone phone book or the newspaper is buying the domain. So when you want to transfer the domain out of there to somewhere else, oops, you don't own it, buddy. And so that's a problem.
Right. Yeah, definitely own the domain name. You definitely need to do that. It's so cheap and inexpensive to do that.
Yeah.
I've been using Wix since they first released, like back when they were just doing Flash websites.
Okay.
And I've been kind of depending on them. I'm happy with what I've been using on there. So.
Okay.
I say use a web designer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flat out. If you don't know how to build a website, if you want to build a website as a hobby to get better at it, go for it. If you're building a website for your business and you don't know how to build a website, have someone build it.
Absolutely.
And I didn't do that for my RS Tech Team website. I am going to have somebody build it, completely rebuild it from scratch. But my Carruthers Computers website was built by a web designer, specifically because I have no idea what I'm doing other than, I can make something work.
Well, that's kind of what we all do. And you also have to figure out how much is your time worth to put into that also. And I will say that I'm an advocate of things like TechSite Builder. If you go to TechSiteBuilder.com, you can definitely check that out. And Matthew Rodella has put together a very easy, pretty looking website that you can basically drag and drop your content in, and you're up and running in literally less than an hour, and people can get to your site. And I've said this, I've had an HTML static web page since day one back in 2010, and quite honestly, that was always good enough, because all I ever wanted the customer to do was get to the website and call the phone number. So the phone number was the biggest thing you've seen. I could care less. Yeah, I put my friendly face on there so they knew I was a real person and not some pretty model that's trying to get you to entice you to come in or whatever. But I like the realism of that, but really what I was trying to get them to do was call me once I have a conversation with that customer. If them and I click, they're going to bring me their computer, I'm going to fix it. Bottom line, if we don't click, they're going to move on to somebody else, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, back in the day, a lot of people weren't, and I wasn't either. I used to cut my prices a lot to accommodate people. Now I'm like, here's what it is. You don't like it? Okay. You move on to somebody else. It doesn't matter, because I know the type of job that I'm going to do, and it's going to be. I don't want to say necessarily. There's a lot of people that do good work, but I'm going to take the extra time because I have the time built into my rate that makes it worth it for me to do a outstanding job and make sure that I have all my checks and balances in place, and I'm not running around trying to fix this and fix that and forget things along the way, because that happens. We're all humans. It definitely happens. So, all right. So let's go into our topics for today. Yeah, we're doing pretty good on time here. Man, I'm just clicking right along. Okay. Pat, now you use a lot of social media when it comes to building your computer repair business. Can you explain to us what you do with social media, how you make it work to your benefit to help your customers out so that they feel comfortable using you and coming back to you over and over again?
Our, that's the thing is our social media is based on a conversation. So I start the conversation, they finish the conversation, back and forth. And so we just have a dialogue, and it's important, for anybody to talk with the customers. I use a Monday morning memo newsletter, and I've got about 450 subscribers to that. I can't really believe how many people will talk to me. Hey, I read in your memo, da 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 da, or I saw on your Facebook page, da 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 da, whatever. And so now I think I have about 2,500 people following me on Facebook. and so now I go to a lot of seminars, I go to a lot of classes and conventions and things like that, and so now what I've decided to do in January, since it's usually slow, for me anyway, so it's a mix. Sometimes you have everybody gets their new stuff and it's really busy, or else everybody is happy with their new stuff and they don't call you till mid-February after they get that first month's credit card bill paid. Anyway, I'm doing some classes on Facebook for Business, and it's called Beyond Kittens and Selfies: Advanced Facebook for Business Pages, and
I like the title.
We talk about review your basic page setup and page verification. Not a lot of people know that you can verify your Facebook page so it looks like you really care and it's there. May help in some search stuff too. People don't put enough emphasis into their graphics, either their headers or their profile pictures. Building your audience, that magical first 100 fans. After you hit 100 fans, then the magic happens, and you can do a lot more things with your Facebook page. People don't know how to use their insights, their hidden tools. We're going to show you that. The call to action buttons, and of course call to action buttons may really help you out on the cell phone, because when you're prompted to call me, that's just one touch and your call. You know how Amazon does it, where you go and look up a widget on Amazon and you're going to buy this hard drive or something like that. Well, then you go around the internet, and all of a sudden that hard drive follows you everywhere you go.
Right.
You can't believe it. That hard drive. Well, Facebook has a pixel, and the pixel advertising is the same as what Staples does, the same what Best Buy does, the same what Amazon does, and we're going to teach people how to use that pixel advertising in your Facebook page. We're going to talk about contests, giveaways, and Facebook jail. We're going to talk about Facebook mobile tools, and then of course linking your accounts and your website to Facebook, because it all should be just like a big web, with your website being the hub of that web. Everybody can come back to the website.
Now, Pat, let me ask you a question. How long do you think that it takes you to maintain your social media presence when it comes to these business things?
I do it at night, and it really, I probably put more into, that's the problem is these business owners today and other computer repair centers don't have the time, and I don't know if it's just because I stay up too late or whatnot. But everything I do, if it's a video, you share that video 7 times. You put it on a YouTube channel, you can copy it to Facebook channel, you copy it to Twitter, you copy it to Google+, so nobody will see it. And then you can same way with Instagram, all these things.
Right.
Take one picture and share it 7 times, but bring it all back to your website.
Okay.
So if you go to my website, along the bottom, I think I've got 9 social media icons down there. Now, you don't have to be every place all the time, and don't just sign up just to have an icon, but the ones you can maintain on a regular basis, those are the ones you want to be at. So I don't do a lot with Twitter. I'm getting there, but I don't see it, but other people do, so I'm there. But Instagram, I don't use it for work at all. That's just a personal thing. But if somebody wants to contact me through Instagram, they know what I do, I guess. And so anyway, that's that. But yeah, I couldn't really put a time on it, but I'm going to teach these folks in about 2.5 hours how to do their own, and if they don't want to do it, I'll do it for them. So, and I hate that. I hate babysitting that stuff. But I will do it. You pay me, and I will do it for you.
Sure. No, and that's a good business revenue to have there, is to be able to do those things. I'm just wondering from a standpoint, because that's a lot of us will say, we're so busy, I don't want to sign up for all these different things, I don't want to maintain them. And things like Twitter are working very well for online businesses of many different sorts. But a lot of them that are working, they're paying money for tools that automate their posts and repost things over time, so it makes it look like it's natural. Yet from my standpoint, I look at some of those and I go, it's just too much. I just can't keep up with all that information. Regardless, you could have the best thing in the world, but I don't need to be inundated in my stream with all your stuff on a consistent basis. But it works.
And that's like Facebook and one of the guys that's on the show, Tom. He has a Facebook channel, or a YouTube channel. All it is a cut and paste of a link onto your Facebook page, and boom, there you go.
Yeah. And that's really all I do is I use it for posting when the shows are going live, when the recorded show goes up, those types of things for the podcast. But I've always wondered, how do I bring this into my business to make it relevant for computer repair? Because at this point right now, I don't do things like you do, and I know Tom does. You guys do stuff for end user customers that makes a lot of sense in making little videos, giving informative information. I know I need to have a blog on my website, and I've been talking about it for like the last 2 years, and I still haven't done it yet.
See, we have it.
I was also going to bring up real quick when I talked to those motels. I'm going to talk to them. And that last time you stayed in a motel, did you have like a room key that like was from Pizza Hut or Domino's or somewhere? I made these back in the day. They were gift cards. And of course, on the back, it has some other details and things like that. But I ordered these gift cards, and you can also have a magnetic strip put across the back, and pitch them to your local motel if that's what you want to do. I mean, if you want to get, if it's your business plan that you don't mind to call at 1:30 in the morning, I can't get my computer to work, something like that. But usually, the time that computers don't work at motels is maybe around check-in time when they're first getting there, or when they get back from an event, maybe 10 o'clock at night. And you can have a special rate for that, or whatever you want to do. But I'm talking to the motel about doing a swipe card, a room key, and also sponsoring on their channel lineup, that they always have a channel lineup, sponsoring that channel lineup, because that's something you always look at when you go to a motel too, is the channel lineup.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
So, a couple things.
Sounds good. Tom, what were you going to say?
We to help manage it. Say, like Pat, we have a few thousand people on our Facebook, and we get a lot of business from Facebook. So it's delegating it out, and we have multiple people who are replying to all the messages we get, who are helping engage with the content. It can't just be me. It wouldn't be. There's not enough of me. It's almost a job. So, and we do the same thing like he does. We do the talks, we do that. We also do the advertising through Facebook, through the ads manager, do the conversion pixel. And I don't know if you're doing this, Pat, but did you know you can upload your mailing list to Facebook now too for retargeting?
I know that, and I've been talked to about that, but I just when people sign up for my mailing list, that's my mailing list, and a deal I work out with them is it's confidential. We don't share that. So while I know I can do a lot of things with that, I'm not going to.
Well, what it's doing is it isn't subscribing them to Facebook. It will just do an alignment to see if those people are already on Facebook, and then retarget them to like your page.
Right, I understand. Yeah. But I just
no, I know what you're saying. No, yes. Yeah, there's
that makes sense.
Privacy concerns.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful with that type of stuff. And I'm not sure. I would imagine it's probably a closed system inside Facebook, because even though they're grabbing all our information, I get that. There's still some things that are going to have to be sacred in order for them to keep the things that they're doing alive. Hey, let's take a quick break here real quick. We got a phone call coming in, and somebody has a question for us. So let me go ahead and type that in. And hold on one sec.
You got this, Jeff.
I got it. I'm waiting on yeah.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right, we'll continue on, and as soon as we can get that piped in, we'll go ahead and answer that call. Anyways, so yeah, I'm looking at it. All right. Anyways, so Taliferro, do you use any type of social media for your business at this point?
Yeah, I just started, advertising on Facebook, really heavy. The paid advertising. I do Instagram. I just created an Instagram page. before that, I had been doing it under a personal account, but now I'm separating it, into accounts just for the business. Last year, I actually had I went through it with somebody had made a fake page of our business and was basically friending everybody that was on the friends list to the page, basically reposting all of our pictures, reposting all of our statuses and everything, and then halfway through it they started basically changed the page around and started sending out spam and all of that, and it became a problem, and it took me probably 2 weeks to get Facebook to remove that page, and emailing a correspondent from Facebook back and forth trying to prove that that was my page and that it had been copied and all of this stuff. So after that, I kind of didn't advertise on there as much, but like I said, now I'm back on it, and it's been working out pretty well. Just using the built-in targeting advertising to our around our zip code, and it's been working out pretty well. I'm happy with it, but I know that there's a lot more we can be doing.
So now, did somebody do that maliciously? For what reason? To basically mess with your business, or I mean, what was
I guess so. It was based out of I can't remember. It wasn't in the States. It was Australia or
okay.
It was somewhere else. It wasn't anywhere near me, so I don't think it wasn't anybody trying to I think it was just they were use my page for to be honest with you, I wouldn't even really know.
Doesn't quite make any sense, does it?
No. I went back and forth. I was hesitant because they had stopped for a while, and I wanted to email them and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Why are you using my page? But I never even did that because I was afraid that they would kind of, it's ticking them off. Let's do it some more. So I just went straight through Facebook and finally got it removed. So.
Got it. All right, we do have a call coming in. Let me go ahead and grab this. Hello. And
drop.
Oops.
We've never practiced this before.
Yes, we have. We've had callers.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what's going on here. The call is on hold, and I can't get it off hold.
Do you need some remote support?
We call the Geek Squad.
Ouch.
Them's fighting words.
Oh, man.
That's my joke to my techs anytime they tell me they can't solve something. I'm like, oh, should I take it to the Geek Squad?
All right. Chris, how about you as far as social media?
Really, I mean, I've focused on Twitter, and really that's it. I mean, yes, I'm on Facebook, and my front desk person, she puts up pictures and tips and things that we send to her, but I find that unless you already have people actively going to your Facebook page to read what you're being given or reading what you're putting out, they're not really getting it unless you pay for the advertising. So rather than sinking the money into that, we've put more money into the Google AdWords, and Google AdWords has actually pulled in more clients for us than Facebook has. It's probably just because of the target market that we're going after, and we're looking for new clients as much as recurring, but that's been our experience with it anyway.
Okay. All right, let's try this one more time. Third time's a charm. Here we go. Hey, welcome to the Computer Repair Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good. So you had a question for us.
Yes, and if I may, I have two questions, but both are in a way related.
Okay.
The first question is, I realize it's an age-old question. It has to do with competing with low prices. I don't have a shop. We do our work on site and also online. The issue we've had is one of our big competitors has expanded. Now they have 3 shops where they have 1. Smaller shops have opened up, and we even have a Microsoft store now, which offers people free virus removal. The biggest problem we've had is competing on price, especially with the price in computers dropping. So even people who could afford to pay more for service, when it comes time to getting a new computer, they'll figure they'll just buy one for $350 rather than pay whatever to have one repaired. Or if they do have it repaired, they'll take it to somebody who will do the work for, and I'm serious, we have a lot of them around here, who will do work for like $30 an hour. And as a business, paying taxes, dealing with paperwork, actually having a legitimate business, it's difficult to compete in that type of environment.
Right. Now,
so my question regarding that is, what advice do you have as far as being able to market a business with experience that makes sure they do everything right, crosses all of our T's, dots all of our I's? What advice do you have for a business like that trying to compete in a very price-oriented market?
Can I cut in on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did I ever tell you the story about the new barber in town that offered $5 haircuts?
No, I don't think I've heard that one.
Okay,
But
anyway, new barber in town came to town. He offered $5 haircuts, and after 2 months, the barber across the street who'd been there for 40 years, whose haircuts were $20 a piece, put a new sign in his window that says, "We fix $5 haircuts."
That's great marketing right there. That is something I didn't even think of. That's really good.
I will post my.
Yeah, that is good. We have gotten customers before in the past from other companies that they've been dissatisfied with.
Right. That's great advice right there.
You know, I'll say something about that. I started off, you know, as one of those techs that just charge, you know, $20, $30 to, you know, do things like that, mainly to gain experience. But realistically, people that are undercutting by $20 or $30, one or two things is going to happen. They either have a full-time job and can't devote as much time to it as you know, we can devote to it, or they're undercutting themselves so much that they're eventually going to go out of business. So waiting that out is a big thing, but knowing that you're providing a level of service that warrants what you're charging is something that's going to carry you in the long run. You know, people that are charging $20 to do a reinstall, you know, really, like you know, Patrick just said, you know, they're going to have to go get that fixed at a new place that actually is going to charge them what they're worth, and now they're not only paying that $20, but they're paying the regular rate of a real technician. So next time they're going to say, you know, let me just save that initial $20 and go straight to the guy that knows what he's doing.
And there's a lot of times where I've seen people in this industry that will come and go, like you guys have been saying. So one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to quit because, and I've known some good technicians that, quite honestly, they do reinstalls for $30, and they'll do it, and you can tell that they're good technicians in what they do. The problem is, I know, and everybody else knows, that is not sustainable for a long period of time. So I guess my question to you would be, is how many of those people do you see sticking around over the long haul? Because on average, I see people pop up and last for about 8 months, and they're here and gone.
I'd say that's pretty average, but some of the ones that are able to, I find that more of them are able to stick it out longer.
Okay.
Because since they have a retail storefront, they're able to make up money by doing like screen repairs on phones and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've found it is quite different, because my screen repairs on like a laptop are $149 on average, and there's a lot of people. I used to sell those all day long. Now I tell people $149, and they're like, I don't,
Yep.
And it's like, really? Because you know, and the difference is I know that I put in an A+ screen. I'm not going to put in a substandard screen. You get a screen from me, it's going to be warranted for, usually from the suppliers I get for 1 to 3 years. and obviously damage. It's not going to cover damage, but as far as the screen working. And now a lot of these you can get cheaper screens, and they're really not that much cheaper, but they're definitely a cheaper quality. And people do that all day long and charge like $10 to pop a screen and pop one out and put one in. So I definitely am feeling it.
If they go with the lower price part, then they can just make it up on marking up the part.
Right. And that's not my business. I guess from my standpoint, my business is about creating a relationship with the customer and making sure that they know that I'm there for them, and I'm never going to steer them in the wrong direction, knowingly. Now, mistakes probably do happen, but knowingly I'm gonna take care of them to the best of my ability. They're my customer. They're the important ones to me. If you're just treating them as a number, they're coming in the shop, whatever, that's fine. You can do your business that way, but again, that's just not my type of business, and I guess that's the rub out there.
Well, you're also warranting your service and the parts and everything that you're doing.
Right.
So, whenever if I'm ever asked, well, why do you charge $110 for your virus removals? Well, that's because if the virus comes back, I'm not charging you a second time for it. I'm not going to close down shop and skip town and you're never going to hear from me again. Right? I have warranties on my service. I have warranties on the things that I sell you. And if you're going to come into my shop, you're going to leave satisfied, or you're going to come back angry. But I'm going to be here.
and you're also paying for the experience. It's just not like you fell off the turnip truck yesterday. You're paying for 10, 15 years of experience removing viruses or put in anything you want in that box, but they're paying for your experience. It's not like you just, I just read this on something today and now I'm an expert at
it.
There's still, and it's funny because even doing virus removals or doing reinstalls or whatever, when you're backing up someone's data, I am so careful to make sure that I get everything back. It almost, even to this day, and I've been doing this for quite a while, even to this day, it still makes me a bit nervous to make sure that I'm getting everything back from that person's system. Now, over the years, I've become very good at it. I use automated products to get most of it, but you still got to go back, and I still manually double-check things with my own two eyes. And I know a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people that they'll come back and they'll go, yeah, they reinstalled my operating system, and I lost all my pictures for the last 10 years.
And then they point to a sign in their shop that says, not responsible for data loss.
Exactly. So even though my paperwork basically says the same thing, I'm not responsible for your data loss, I still go above and beyond to make sure that I'm going to get every piece of data you need. You're using some weird software that keeps its database in a weird slot besides my documents. I need to know where that is. I need to know what you're using. I need to communicate with the customer. That's a step above what you're going to get from other people. Now, granted, even some of those people balk at the prices, and I'm like going, yeah. I look at it and I go, you can take it somewhere else. But I'm surprised that there are actual retail shops that are charging those lower prices just to get people in there.
Oh, those are retail shop. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And like I said, I think it has to do with the fact that a lot of them are able to sustain themselves by kind of like treating some of the PC work, even though they make it seem like it's their main point, but kind of putting it on the side since they can make up the cost by selling accessories for phones, doing screen replacements, all the little stuff you have to have the shop to do.
Gotcha. And there's not a whole lot of margin in that stuff, so they would really have to be moving some product. Now, I know screen repairs, you can turn a pretty profit if you have a good system set up doing that. And it's a fairly simple, from what I'm told, because I don't do them myself, because I have no desire. I'll hire somebody or use somebody else's services to do that. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I like what Pat said. Hey, we'll fix your $5 haircut. We're here for you. If you ever have a problem, come to us. We'll take care of you. You're important to me. That type of attitude, I think, goes a long way, especially in today's day and age. I look at a lot of this, the global economy, so to speak, and I really, as much as I can, and this has been a change in my mind over the years, as much as I can, I really try to support the local economy in my area. And it's important to me, whether it's a small bakery, meat store, farm, whatever. Those types, I try to do that. So I'm hoping that by doing that, those things are going to come back to me also.
You got to think too that just because one shop succeeded, you said that they went from one shop to 3. Just because they had one shop that succeeded doesn't mean that the other 2 will. They might be trying to use the exact same business model in 3 different areas where that business model worked great in the original store, but it's just going to flop in the other 2. So this is still going to be a waiting game for you. This is still the $5 haircut across the street. And maybe they will stick around. Maybe they'll sell enough phone accessories that they'll be able to keep the doors open. But I wouldn't put yourself in a position where your thought has to be, these guys need to fail in order for me to succeed. You need to put yourself into a position where you are more of an expert. You are the go-to guy. You're the person who's going to get the right solution for that client, not just the solution that's on the shelf in the store.
And I'll use another anecdote. Is I always ask the customer, or ask people, who owns the moon? And they say, well, nobody owns the moon. Well, the United States owns the moon. We got 6 flags up there in it. So just put the flag of the ground in your town and say, this is my town. And use the moon. I have a hunch tomorrow a lot of my stories are going to be repeated tomorrow.
They're very good stories, yeah. Go ahead.
I have one more question.
Okay.
I'm located in a beach town. It's a vacation town.
Okay.
Not that we don't have a lot of people who live here. But the general attitude with everybody is everybody's generally laid back about most things. If there's a problem, they'll wait until it becomes a huge problem before they're proactive about anything. That's the general attitude here. Not to badmouth the people in my town. I love my town. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move more so into computer security by offering MSP services and making sure that we secure computers. And I feel it's a big benefit to business owners to offer them something that goes a step above and beyond Norton and McAfee, where I'm sure you guys also see computers all the time where people are always like, oh, well, I'm sure I'm not infected because I've got Norton or I've got McAfee.
Yeah.
But then when you dig deeper, you see it's infected, and of course, they never really check and make sure their antivirus software is actually working.
Exactly.
The problem I have when selling security services is I'm usually able to get the point across, but there's still a lot of difficulty in getting people to recognize the value. People kind of have that consensus of, well, I'm in a small town, I don't have to worry about hackers, they'll wait until a problem happens. People generally don't take computer security seriously. That's one of the other huge obstacles I've had to face in trying to offer different services.
Right. Yeah, that's a valid point. And I think we're all going through those same types of things. Tom was just talking about that as far as the MSP services. I was talking about that as far as being able to keep people at a point where their computer works on a regular basis, like the day they brought it home from the store. A lot of people don't understand that, and even when you explain it to them. So one of the things I started doing myself is I offer a virus removal, and for whatever it is, $10, $15 more, you can get a virus removal plus 1 year 1 year of this managed service. So it gets it in their hands. They see how it works for them over time, and then the next year when it comes up to renewal time, it's going to be an easier sell. They see how it's worked, and even if they do get off your plan, and Chris, I know you've told stories like this before. Yeah. Somebody gets off your plan, and 1 month later they're going, "Hey, you need to sign me back up again."
Yeah, because the updates didn't work, or I got infected again, or something.
Right.
And that one point that you made though that's super important. And actually, Corin in the chat is saying the same thing. You need to explain to them why they would have saved money. So what I want to challenge you to do is make that pitch to everybody that you think would be a fit for it. I'm not saying, try to pitch it to everybody, because trying to pitch it to everybody, that doesn't work. It makes you sound completely automated, and you won't have any feeling in it, so you're not going to make that sale. But if you think that, this client, it would really benefit from a managed service plan, I think that I should talk to this client about this. Sit down and say, look, this is what our managed service plan is going to do for you. These are all the things that's going to happen. Here's the value of it. Do your normal spiel. And if they say, no, I really don't feel that that is going to benefit me, or I don't think I'm going to save any money, or it's not worth the cost, make them a challenge. Ask them, okay, listen, I still want to be your IT person. I'm more than happy to take you on a per call basis. Here's what I'd like you to do for me. Every time you call me to fix something, I'm going to keep track of it for you so that I can keep track of how much we're charging you, and we're going to go over that. But if there is something that would have been covered by our plan that you wind up either fixing yourself or leaving alone until the next time we wind up helping you, I want you to email me real quick and say, hey, just wanted to let you know that I'm having this problem. Keep track of that on your customer's behalf. Make a folder. Keep track of all of this stuff. And then when 12 months are done, turn around and say, okay, listen, here's everything that we did for you, and here's everything that you emailed for me that we didn't even fix. And here's how much money you would have paid for this service plan. Here's how much money you paid me. And you either have things that are still broken, or you've paid more than what you would have been on the service plan. So why don't we talk again about whether or not the service plan is going to work for you? And what you're going to find is that the vast majority of your clients would actually have not only saved money on it, but the next time that they're sitting down on a business dinner, or even just at the golf course hanging out with friends, and they start talking about this IT guy that they have that put them on the service plan that's saving them all this money, you're going to wind up getting referral phone calls from that.
Yeah, I second that. I definitely agree with that. That's definitely the way it works. I like that, Chris. That was really good.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's good information. It definitely brought the point home. I'm sorry, we didn't get your name. What was your name?
Oh, my name is Luther.
Okay, Luther. Good to meet you. And I hope that answered your question, and hope those help move you in a forward direction. And I think we're all kind of struggling with the same things. Okay, good. Very cool. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, take care.
All right.
I got to come down from that. I don't get to get smart like that very often.
Man, I was like, who is that in Chris's body?
I'm okay.
Oh. Yeah, some of the points, in talking about price, going back to, I was looking at the chat room, I see what Pat was saying. You can be cheap, fast, or right, and that's how you can do your business. And you got to only pick two of those. You can't pick all three. And so a lot of times, if you're going to be fast, and this is what I've learned, if I'm going to be fast, I need to charge a premium price. If I'm going to be a little bit cheaper, and I'm not talking about dirt cheap, I'm just talking about a little bit cheaper, then it's going to take me a little bit longer, but that's okay. And a lot of customers are willing to wait for that type of service. And right has to be one of those things that you pick. It has to be done right. We all do it right, correct? Not one of us says, you know what, my virus removals suck. I don't do them well at all. That's not what we're striving for. We're striving to do it right and to make the customer happy and to make them come back for other things. And that's the long-term goal, I think.
It's building a relationship with the clients, because so much of our business is referral. I've got some clients that we've been in business a little over 12 years. We've got clients that I've had since day one, and we still have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's that constant quality service, being responsive. And just like Chris said, that's what that referral is. I can spider out how many companies I got from one client who then referred to this client and that client to that client. And you're right on the money there, Chris.
And it's crazy too, because I've actually Repair Shopper keeps track of level 1 referrals, is what I like to call them, but I'm actually setting up a spreadsheet so that I can start tracking, and I've got 4th level referrals coming in, which blows my mind when I think that I'm getting all of these clients because I made this guy happy or this woman happy, and it's the cheapest marketing you have is your clients. All you have to do is invest the time into them.
Yeah, just do it. Do it right. Make them happy, and they're perfectly fine to talk about you.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about our last subject for today. We've covered social media. We've covered pricing and some different things there. Now, Chris, you wanted to talk about the upcoming holidays. in some of the ways that you keep your shop moving. So how do you? Everybody's talked about November being a slow month. December is sometimes slow. I find it's half and half. I'll get some slow weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like everybody's hard drives are breaking. I don't understand it.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Is don't wait for something to break. That's the thing. It doesn't
That's
have
awesome,
to be
man.
broken,
Dude,
right?
follow that up and give me some of that so I can pass it out to my customers.
No, but really, like here's the thing. Okay, so let's. I'm going to use my shop as an example because let's face it, my shop is the most in-depth example that I can give, right? So, yeah, November was really slow. We had a few computers come in. All of our white label clients were slow. And it happened last year too. So I wasn't surprised when it happened, but I find it amazing that we've tripled with the number of employees that we have, and it was the exact same thing. So I had to sit back and think like, okay, so what can I do to bump revenue back up for December so that I can bring my revenue up before year end?
Right.
And we've come up with, and by we I mean I, because I am the marketing team right now, have come up with different directions to go in. Gift certificates, which is basically a prepaid ticket that you can buy for somebody else. That's something that we started selling and advertising on our Facebook, Twitter, and email lists. We have a promotion that we're doing on data transfers between computers, which, with the holiday seasons coming up, a lot of people are getting new computers either for the holidays or just because it's the year end and they want to, get their next deduction for their taxes for the year. We have our Vicinity, which is our rewards program. So we're offering double points on certain products like data transfers, virus removals, tune-ups, things like that. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with you guys. Is are you doing anything different in your advertising to either advertise services that revolve around the holidays or services that revolve around year-end tax season for the businesses that need to make a slight adjustment to their taxes to save themselves some money?
We get a lot of more business because every December, last couple Decembers, we've been doing our laptop giveaway. We call it our Pay It Forward giveaway, and it gets us attention. And it's funny because just by doing that, we give away a couple laptops, it then drives all these customers, oh yeah, my screen's broken, and oh yeah, this. So some of it's kind of like side advertising, I almost want to call it. We have our usual ads we run, and I kind of look at, there's one of the things like between Google and Facebook is like kind of a knob you turn up, I go, how much do I want to spend per day? I just bump it up whenever it's slow, and the phone just rings. It's almost that simple.
Right. I wish I had a customer button like that.
It's kind of what it reminds me of. I mean, it gets expensive. Sometimes I've spent as much as $2,000 in a month on ads through Facebook and Google. Sometimes maybe a little more. But I'm just looking at the views on one of our giveaways. I posted it about a week ago. It's got 5.3 thousand views and a 10,000 person reach. And the traffic to the website, I don't have it pulled up. It's pretty big, and then 25 shares on top of that. So I mean, and we're getting posted everywhere and reshared everywhere, so it just drives business back to us.
Nice. Now let me ask you a question, Tom. Before we go on, I'm just curious: how far out do you market? Do you kind of keep some of that stuff close to your area, or do you spread out a little bit?
20 miles.
Okay, 20-mile radius. All right.
Yep. You could draw a 20-mile circle. I use a tool called Mapalist. We have about 5,300 retail clients, and you could draw probably a 10 or 15-mile circle around all of them. And the business ones, you could draw a 30-mile circle around. We have about 300 businesses we do IT for, and you could draw a circle around them that's maybe 20 miles, and almost all of them would fit in there.
Okay.
I really keep it tight. That's the best way I can service all my clients.
Right.
Well, that's not rural Iowa.
How you doing that there, Pat?
I have a 45-mile radius where it's free pickup and delivery. That seems to. I've got a competitor in a town 30 miles north of me. As much as I advertise, they call my number, but they think that they need to drop the computer off at his shop, and that's really what I'm up against right now, is finding a way to compete against that. So I basically cut off all advertising up north because I don't want to give him that. I don't want to give him that. They call my number, and I've got a real easy phone number, so it's real easy to remember. But they always say, well, I'll just bring it in. Well, no, because I'm not in Mason City. I'm not in that town. Oh, well, okay, well, forget it then. And they take the computer to him anyway. So I've just stopped advertising up there because I'm just giving him advertising.
Gotcha.
I had a video, a 30-second video at Buffalo Wild Wings. I had a park bench in front of the Walmart, the highest traffic spot in that town, and I had my number, and they were always going to him. So I said, forget it.
Yeah, I guess that's why I keep to a 6x6 square mile radius. But and that's partially because I do this part time. I need to be able to get to my customers quick. And if I can't get to them quick myself, then there's no point, because I'm not going to be able to help you with your needs if I've got to travel 20, 30, 40 miles. So, but that yeah, it definitely works for my business.
I have a route, and every day I'm at a different town on the route. So it's just like a paper route.
A good analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
Here's your laptop.
So, Pat, what types of things do you do for the holiday? Do you do anything special? Because I know during the year you do a lot of parades and stuff like that with the wraps and stuff on your car and van and all that.
Yeah. Nothing. I don't. I'll promote the gift card a little bit.
Okay.
Nothing much. I mean, I'm usually, it's really a busy time. Like late December, it's when everybody's rushing. I gotta get this. I need a last minute that. Hell, I'll sell out of cans of air. I mean, that's a stocking stuffer. I mean, and I double the price on it from where I buy it from, and away we go.
Nice. Okay. Gotcha. So no slow business during this time of year. Now, are there certain times of year that your business does slow though in your area?
During Little League baseball, softball season, late May through the 1st of July is very, very slow. Parents,
okay.
We're a Little League town, I guess, and every time you turn around, there's some kid wanting to sell you a uniform or something. But I don't do any of those either. But yeah, it's just really a lot of town celebrations. Last year I was in 15 different parades, and
oh, that's a lot. I mean, that's definitely a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it's a small town Americana.
Right. So you're getting the word out there that, hey, I'm the computer guy in the area, and that's why people are constantly coming. Your presence is always there throughout the year.
Flag in the ground.
Okay. Awesome. Taliferro, how about you? What do you do for the holiday slowdown, or are you seeing an uptick in business also?
Like I said, December is statistically my slowest month, and it's holding true again this year. So I use this time to kind of revamp and determine what I'm going to do for the new year to kick things off. January is crazy, and that's why I say I've come to the conclusion that people in my area are just out buying new computers and spending money on Christmas presents at this time, because then January will roll around and those computers are already dropped or have infections and all kinds of stuff. I mean, January is, for the last 4 years, January has been my busiest month by far. So
okay, wow.
And just doing that and kind of trying to juggle all of my my business clients. I've been focusing real hard on my managed services. So I've been rolling out new features to them and kind of making sure that they're okay for the end of the year. So when it comes time again to sign contracts, there's no rebuttal. It's just in and out, and so it's basically a time for me to just get everything situated for the end of the year.
I like that. A lot of times that's what I'll do in my business is during the slow months I'll take the time and basically reassess the things that I do, maybe make my processes a little tighter, a little bit better, a little more efficient, and see where I want to go with my business, what types of businesses I want to solicit and different things like that. Really just kind of settle. To me, it's almost a time where I just kind of sit back and think about some things, and I don't mind those months that happens during the year. Now, do you do anything for do you try to throw any sales during this month or anything like that, or just
Right now, I'm running a promotion where you get a virus removal or a reinstallation. We'll do a year of antivirus or either Kaspersky Total Security or Bitdefender along with that, and that's been pretty popular. I guess relatively speaking, a lot of people have called about that. So that is the extent of any what promotions that I've run, but yeah.
Okay.
So and I was gonna say, as far as I know that you were saying about the advertising radius, I did want to say that as far as my advertising radius, I don't have one for my city. It's a larger city. I advertise by zip code, and I took about 2 months to kind of filter out what zip codes that I was going to advertise to. There are certain parts of town that I just will not go. Not only because of traffic or anything like that, just because frankly I don't feel safe going on that side of town.
That's never a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to places. At first I was advertising all over town, and I went to a couple of places and kind of was like, I hope I make it out of here alive, or what's that smell? Things like that. It's just and I hate to. Yeah, I don't want to. Okay, well, this side of town is not really in my areas that I want to go. So I kind of pick and choose which ones are nice and which ones are I have the most customers from. So I kind of do it that way.
No, yeah, that's good. Back in the day, Google AdWords actually had it to where you could draw a specific shape on the map and advertise to that shape. That went away a few years ago. I can't remember how many years ago.
Yeah.
But because I used to live by the water, it actually worked out perfect for me in my business because I was able to cut the shapes that I wanted to and cut in and out of certain areas that I didn't want or wanted. Now, the thing with Google AdWords is it does bleed out a little bit, so it's not exact. Nowadays, I do the same thing. I do zip codes. And the reason I say a 6 by 6 square mile radius is I live in a township. And literally townships are, this township is 6 by 6 square miles. That's what it is. So there's 2 zip codes inside of there. I plugged in those 2 zip codes. Now, granted, because of where I live, there's still bleed out into the outlying edge of areas that I'm at. So that definitely works for me as far as it's still quite a big area. There's in that 6 by 6 square mile radius, there's like 93,000 people. So that's a lot.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've actually had businesses call me from neighboring or close cities that are close, small cities that are close. I have a couple of contracts with some business clients that are, I think it's about 40 miles away, and so I don't mind doing that. I'll travel for business clients as far as I guess see fit. Not for 1 or 2 computers, but they have about 35 computers there that they're having managed service for. So I find it cost effective to do that because I don't have to go on site after the fact. So.
Right, and for a lot of my customers, especially residential, they bring their products to me most of the time.
Yeah.
So because of that, I have to keep what I noticed was when I went out to 10 square miles, is what was happening is I was getting a lot of interest, but not a lot of people were willing to drive 10 miles to get to me. But anything within like a 5 to 5 mile radius, somewhere in that area, people were willing to drive it to me to drop it off, no problem. And there's plenty of people in the area that I really wasn't worried about competition and stuff like that.
I'll go on site. I charge of course, I charge an on-site fee for it, and it increases the further it is away from my shop. But I've been finding there's a people that, and I'll be pulling up to their neighborhood, and a couple of times I've seen a computer shop or a computer store that's literally across the street from their neighborhood, and they call me from across town to go there. So I'll get in there. Well, just curious, why did you call me? And I noticed that you have a computer shop across the street. Oh, well, I've seen your ratings, and I kind of like what they said on there. So, I am fortunate that's the case, and I will drive for situations like that. But it's cost effective if it's cost effective for me to charge the on-site fee to go there.
Right. Well, and that's why a lot of people bring them to me, because my on-site fee is a lot more expensive than the bring it to me fee.
Yeah.
Not only do I charge a trip charge, but it goes to an hourly rate instead of the flat rates that I charge for a lot of things that I do. So it's actually usually double.
And make it worth your time, right?
Exactly. I have to. I mean, I get too many things going on. Pat, that's one of the things. Going back to the social media thing we were talking about a little bit earlier. That's the other thing that have always concerned me about some of the social media stuff is maybe some of the negative things that you get on your like pages and different things like that. How do you handle some of that stuff, or is there a good way to handle it?
Well, taking it offline, first of all. If I don't mean deleting the post, I mean we have a lot of these buy, sell, trade pages around, or what you call rant and rave pages, where people can rant or they can rave about various services or products in your area.
Okay.
And so I've kind of developed the thing that if somebody rips me, I had a bad time, you ripped me off, or the computer guy couldn't get this fixed, what do you got to say about it? I say that your information is confidential and we're not going to talk about it. If you want to send me a personal message, I will be glad to work with you, but our interaction, our business dealings are confidential, and for your privacy, I will be glad to discuss this with you on the phone or by email.
Gotcha.
And so if you set that kind of a tone where you're not going to get into a pissing match, you're good.
Right. Good point. All right. Chris, and I'm so sorry that I derailed the conversation in many different directions, but going back to your original thing we were talking about, the slowdown, the holiday season, is there any other things that you've thought of that you have not tried yet that you're thinking about doing in your business during the slow times?
No, we're not talking about that anymore.
I want to know from your end of it.
You know what? I think that at this point, I've tried what I'm going to try for this year. I'm not going to. I might launch something on the 20th, so in a week from now, if things don't pick up the way that I want them to, kind of like a last-minute thing. But I'm thinking that you don't want to do too much. You don't want to give away too much, because then there's no point. At the same time, the holiday seasons are one of those times where a lot of people are spending a lot of money. So if you're trying to get the retail clients in, even if it's not lowering the price, even if it's giving something free or giving extra rewards or something where they feel like they've gotten more from you this month than they would have last month or next month, then it could level it a little bit. It sounds like a lot of people on the panel here don't really mind being slow or aren't slow during this time of year, but I know that there's a lot of our listeners that don't want to have a month where they're not making even half of what they made the month after. So I think this was a fun discussion to have, but I think it's a really tough answer to give when you're not familiar with the area that the shop is in.
Yeah, that's true. But I've driven in a car with you, and you have a million ideas rolling around your head at any given time. Matter of fact, fortunately I was driving, and Chris wasn't, because it was like laptop squirrel, and he's off doing something else. And that was just that's how Chris operates. That's why I was asking.
Which is why I try not to use my laptop while I'm driving.
Exactly. Oh. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think we've had a lot of great valid points, and it's been a lot of great information on this show, and a lot of good information that hopefully people can take and use to their advantage in their businesses. And we had a great caller call in and ask some really good questions, and got answers from pretty much everybody on the panel. So that was awesome. And that's kind of what we do here, and that's why we're here, to help you out and be here for you, and kind of laugh and make fun at the same time. But Pat, if people wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Smoke signal. You could. My Facebook page is Pat the Computer Guy. Just type in Pat the Computer Guy in Google, you'll find me.
All right, very good. And also, if you guys, I subscribe to Pat's newsletter, and the reason I do that is because I'm actually stalking him. And no, I like to see the content that he's putting out there to his customers because it gives me a better idea of what I can do for my customers and get the information in their hands. So he always has good, relevant information that's kind of tailored to what he's doing at that given time. So I really like it.
I need to shift a little bit back to computer stuff. I've done a lot of social media stuff, and I got to shift it back.
Okay. Yep. Still good stuff. All right, and Taliferro, if people wanted to get a hold of you and find out what you're up to, where would they do that at?
I think I'll go with the beeper.
The beeper.
Yeah, but it's nealtechsolutions.com is our website, and you can basically get to all my links from there. So that is a one-stop shop for contacting me.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. And Tom, if people want to get in touch with you, what can they do that besides your PC pickup videos?
So my PC pickup videos, obviously my website, lawrencesystems.com. I'm not good with smoke signals, but you can message message me on Facebook, message me anywhere that you see me, Google+. I pretty much live online. I'm on IRC like all the time too, so if you'll find me there as Flipside Creations. I've had the same handle for like 20 years.
I'll have to disagree with you there, Tom, and say that when you put 30,000 volts to that laptop, there was definitely smoke and signals of some sort coming out of that thing.
Okay, I was downloading when I got here. I got here a little bit late. I was going to do it before, but a few hours you'll see a bunch more videos. We decided to start zapping lots of things and recording it, and so we have a series of videos we're putting together where we just blow things up with high voltage.
Oh, awesome! I can't wait. All right,
yeah,
very cool.
They'll be posted later on today.
And Chris Carruthers, as usual, my stalwart co-host. Where can people find you? I'm sorry.
I was going to say carrier pigeon.
To be honest with you, I heard that on another show. I have no idea what stalwart means. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Where can people find you at, Chris?
I was going to say carrier pigeon, but Marvin jumped all over that in the chat. Yeah, you can. Well, apparently you can't find us on our website right now. Our website is down, as I've been told in the chat. But you can still email us at info@rstechteam.com. You can give us a call at 866-568-2813. And once the website gets back up, you can also subscribe to our newsletter where we talk about computer repair business and white label services.
Absolutely. And another great newsletter, by the way. Definitely subscribe to that one. When Chris does put them out, they are full of good, relevant information that definitely make you think for your business.
There's a jab. Put more out, Chris.
I didn't say that. I was just saying when you do put them out. Okay, it was a little bit of a jab. You're right. Love you, man. All right. All right, you guys can come join us live for the Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnutz.com/live. You can join in on a conversation by calling in live or hanging out in the chat room. We also have audio available over at podnutz.com, or you can subscribe using your favorite podcatcher. And for all the people that have been wanting the download links, the download links are available. Download the MP3s to your heart's content and put them on your Santa or whatever MP3 device that you are using. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Computer Repair Podcast. You can email questions and feedback to the show at podnutz@podnutz.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at our 1-888-697-0162. And I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. You guys can also support this show by going to patreon.com/Computer Repair Podcast. And I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast. We are still on the air, for those that care. We'll spend a few minutes hanging out. Very good show, guys. Appreciate it. A lot of good information.
Yeah.
Always learning something new with the social media. I'm so scared of social media. I use it so rarely, but I know Pat's he's the guy. He's all over it all the time.
Facebook's doing Instagram ads too now, which is just
Really?
added bonus. Yeah, so my latest video post, it's syncing up with Instagram, which is kind of cool too.
I'm sorry. I will sign up for Instagram when I sign up for Pinterest. So that'll be never. I'm just. Is that bad to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
No.
So women don't use computers, huh?
Now, let me ask you this. Instagram itself, though, is part of Facebook now, correct?
They own it.
Okay. Now, are they integrating? That's the other thing. I see a lot of these startups start, and they get pulled into these other systems, and then you're kind of all over the place, it seems like.
It's a weird business model because some of the startups now, their business model isn't to make money. Their business model is to gain clients so someone bigger buys them.
It almost does seem like that. I would agree with that.
Oh, it actually. So one of the startups they just tanked earlier this year. That was right here in Tech Town, Detroit. And my friend worked there doing sales for them. That was their business model. The owner didn't publicly say it, but the investors all kind of knew what they were doing. They were doing an ad platform. And because the guy went to school with Zuckerberg, that was his in. He had some inside API information, so he had different ways of advertising and integrating it with Facebook. But his goal was to get enough business clients on there so they would just absorb them. That was, like, if you go to the bar and talk to him, that was his overall business model.
Wow. Okay.
And, yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out. And by the time it got to third rounds of investment, the investor says, we don't think Mark's buying you. We're not giving you any more money.
Right.
He went through, like, $8 million or so.
Oh, my.
It's just all up in smoke, man.
You definitely got to have, when you're bringing these different platforms out, because they all do have their niche, they definitely need to be a thing of passion, I think. You have to be passionate about what you're building in order to get people involved. Then once people are involved, then you can suck all their data out and, like a vampire and move on.
Right. Well, you look at WhatsApp. I mean, that company got bought for $18 billion with a B dollars.
I know.
And they only had a couple hundred employees. I mean,
okay, apparently I'm doing something wrong. Okay, let's make an app.
Let's make an app. Do you know anything about programming?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That's not true.
Okay.
I did program a basic game back in the TI-99 days.
Okay, that's perfect.
So I was able to build a spaceship that would fly straight up and kind of move back and forth.
So here's something fun then. If you ever actually decide to learn how to do it and to put the time into learning it, I had at one point helped bankroll a mobile game that never was launched.
Uh-oh.
And I still have all the software for it.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Sounds interesting.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Marvin B., how you doing, my friend? And I do not do hand signals, but okay.
That's how you can reach me.
Sign
we know
language.
we know how to reach you. maninthevan.net.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, it looks like it is about 5:30, so I think I'm going to stop the official broadcast for the week, and we will see everyone here next Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.